Okay, so hello everyone. I will start a short introduction in Russian, and then we'll hand it over to our American colleagues. Всем добрый вечер еще раз. Мы продолжаем сегодня наш разговор о частных школах в Соединенных Штатах Америки. И, собственно, у нас в этом часу у нас гости из США, Майкл Хаус и Джеки Монтеро Шарп, надеюсь, что я правильно произношу имена, которые расскажут нам про свои школы. Это очень разные школы, друг от друга отличаются кардинально и в некотором роде представляют нам вариации того, что, в принципе, бывает, какие школы в Америке бывают. So who will start? Michael or Jackie? Who is the first one?
Michael,
Jackie, you will have to turn on the microphone.
So Jackie, did we decide that I'm starting or you're starting?
Yeah, you can go.
Okay. This is a new format for me, so I'm not entirely sure exactly what we're going for, but my name is Michael House. I'm the Director of Enrollment Management at Maumee Valley Country Day School in Toledo, Ohio. We are a boarding and day school, again, located in Toledo. I'm going to do just a very brief introduction of my school, and then I think we're going to get into some questions and hopefully provide some insight into what studying in the States can be and just what great education can look like. And I know both Jackie and I will jump into those conversations. So again, I'm at Maumee Valley. Just a little bit about what I'm going to try to talk a little about is personalizing education and then ultimately preparing for university and using that personalized approach to help students best prepare for their life as students and then obviously life beyond that. Just a couple quick points on Maumee Valley. We are 37 years old, founded in 1884. We are a preschool through grade 12 school. We are co-ed, independent boarding and day. And really our vision for education is that we will be personal, we will be experiential, and we will be global. And so really that ties into the topic that I've been asked to present on, and then obviously answer some questions for. Really kind of looking at how personalized, and in my opinion, personal and experiential really tie together well. So personalized and experiential education ultimately prepares students for their best opportunities. Just so that you know who I am and where I'm coming from, I'm located in Toledo, Ohio. We are a city of about 400,000 residents in the metropolitan area. Again, kind of known to be in the Midwest part of the United States on the western shores of one of our Great Lakes. And we are fortunate that we're in a city setting. And so we have access to all the amenities of a city, but it's a smaller kind of safe Midwestern city. And so for our personalized education and those experiences, we have access to so much here in Toledo that really provides students tremendous opportunities. A little bit more just so that you have a sense of what the school looks like and the type of school that we're presenting from. This is Maumee Valley's campus, again, kind of in a suburban portion of the city. And then lastly, just, again, just context is we're a school of about 542 students. Upper school is 240 students. And then the international program here at our school is 48 total students. So 12 students per grade level in grades 9 through 12. And so I guess, I'm looking for a little advice. Again, on this format, I can stop here and then we can jump into questions and answers about personalized education, or I can jump into it. What's best for kind of the format of the day?
I guess it would be great if you could explain something about personalized education as to what it actually is.
Sure.
And then we will see if people have any further questions to go into more details.
Yeah. So certainly, and we're prepared for that as well. So when I say personalized education, I'll come at it from a couple of different ways. I'll talk about what we do here at Maumee Valley that helps to prepare our students. And then I can also just talk about what I mean in general by personalized education. And so really personalizing education is helping students find their passions, helping them achieve their goals through engaging in learning, both in a classroom, but then also out in the real world. And so helping students to kind of define what it is they want in their future. So high school students are, they're asked to know what they want to do all the time. But the reality is when you're 17, 16 years old, you often don't know what you want to do. And so I believe that it's, our job and part of personalizing education that we know our students, that we understand them, that we know when we need to push them to try a little bit more, but then also we need to encourage them to pursue those things that they're most interested in. And so at Maumee Valley, what that looks like from a very structural standpoint is our academic year, which is in front of you, is broken into 5 terms. Those 5 terms are 3 3-week-long intensives and 2 12-week-long rotations. The rotations, which are the white blocks on the screen, those are the more traditional blocks of time. That's when you would see students taking 4 to 5 classes a day. Maybe they're taking their AP courses and some of the more traditional college preparatory courses that you would see. But during our intensives, during those 3 3-week-long intensive blocks, students take one class all day, every day that really matches their academic, professional, or personal interests. Those are the only classes that they take during that block of time. So all the other classes are stopped during those times and students are pursuing these interests. The way these courses look is students can take courses that are being offered by our faculty members here at school. And so faculty might be teaching a course on entrepreneurship or on business ethics or on robotics. Students may take independent studies where they create their own learning program, exactly what they're intending to pursue. They can go out and do. And so independent studies for us are sometimes students that are interested in law or policy or medicine may go and work in those fields for that 3 weeks so that they have an opportunity to see what it really looks like to do that work kind of at a professional level.
Michael?
And then lastly, the third real opportunity for us in intensives are students that travel. And so while our international students still have the opportunity to travel, they often don't take it quite as much. But overall at our school, 97% of our students have an opportunity to travel abroad and take the opportunity to travel abroad, I should say, before they leave for university. And so our students really are getting a global experience through our curriculum and through kind of the opportunities that are here at Maumee Valley.
Michael,
yeah.
I have a question. What if the student doesn't know what they want to study?
Right.
What should he do?
Well, and that's where this really gets meaningful for students is they have these 3 opportunities that they take every single year that they're here. And so if a student is here for 4 years in the high school, they have 12 opportunities to do this, which means that when you don't get it right, when you think you want to be in medicine and then you quickly realize that that's not the route for you, the good news is you have another opportunity coming up later that year. And I see that happen often. And I think that's one of the best learning opportunities that students can have, is not just when it's successful and it works, but when it doesn't work and you learn kind of what you may not want to do. And so those opportunities are really great. And so students are deliberately not put into a track in these intensives. They're kind of given a pretty wide range of opportunities. That said, if a student finds that maybe they take an entrepreneurship class that's being offered by a faculty member in their freshman or sophomore year, and they find that that's their passion, well, then maybe, in their future intensives, they start to build around that. And maybe they do an independent study where they're working in a business, or maybe they learn about business finance or marketing, or different layers of entrepreneurship that might be beneficial for them.
And is it mandatory to take this 3 weeks intensives, or you can just go on vacation?
It is mandatory that all students participate in this. This is part of our curriculum. It is graded. It is on your transcript.
Okay. So when you do a travel experiences for 3 weeks, then you also have to submit some kind of work at the end.
Yeah. So there's, at the end of each of the 3-week intensives is what we call an intensive fair, but basically it's a showcase of learning that happens where we invite in our community, and everybody can come in and kind of get a sense of what the students have learned. This is part of what they're graded on, and so what their intended goals were, what the outcomes were. A lot of our travel experiences, the main point of the learning might be language or cultural immersion, but they might be looking at a topic within culture outside of the United States as well. And so doing kind of like medical mission trips, those types of things could be part of what an intensive outcome would look like.
Mm-hmm. Sounds very interesting. Yeah. I would love to try.
Some of our international students over time have balanced both taking these experiences and learning in our country, but then they've also done independent studies in their own countries or in their home countries. Mm-hmm. As long as we're able to track the learning and we have access to the mentors and the advisors that they're working with when they're overseas, that is okay. And so to your question originally about vacations, some of the parents at least see that as an opportunity for their student to spend 3 more weeks at home. And so sometimes that feels like a vacation to mom and dad, but I don't know how the students feel. So but yeah, lots of opportunities for students to pursue their interests.
So when they study at school, how does their study experience or their everyday routine look like during their regular school days and during these intensives?
Yeah, so the schedule is actually the same, just giving breaks and lunches and those types of things. But during the intensive, students have one class that they take all day, every day. And so that's a long time to be learning about one topic. And so it's often that the students will maybe meet in groups and then go off and do projects and a lot of project-based learning, and then come back to the groups to share kind of where they are and work through the curriculum together when they're taking a class. So it's very kind of flexible during those times. Mm-hmm. During our traditional rotations, students take 4 classes per day, starting at 8 and ending at 3, pretty traditional schedule. So they'll take 4 classes per day. They're scheduled for 5, so they do rotate from time to time throughout the week on which classes they're taking each day. And again, those are going to be more traditional blocks of time where you can expect students to be taking the English, science, math, history type curriculum that you would expect to see in most high schools. That is, even in those blocks of time, deliberately by how long they are, it's a lot of experientially based learning. It's not focused on lecturing and all those things. I think that's a benefit of most independent schools, is that, you know, class sizes are small and engagement is very high. And so it is an expectation that students will be sharing and debating and presenting with their faculty members and with their peers. So it's really a great balance between experiential learning and kind of more traditional learning and traditional opportunities at a very high academic level.
Okay, do we have any questions from the audience here?
So as you're preparing for the question, I want to talk about the transition. So, okay, it's great to have these opportunities, but how does that translate to university? And how does that translate into one of the outcomes that parents and students are really looking to us for? And we think it translates very well. And so 100% of our students get selected or accepted into selective universities. The part that I think is more important is 90% of our students are going to what they would identify as one of their top choice universities. And I believe that this is in part because of the high academic curriculum that we have and many independent schools have. But the opposite side of that is when our students graduate from Maumee Valley, they have a resume, they have experience, they have interests, and they have kind of their story to tell because of these opportunities that have been placed in front of them. So by really knowing the students and by providing them opportunities to find those things, they really do kind of thrive when it comes to the university admission process. Because what we all know, if we're working in schools or pursuing education for our children, is the elite universities, the top universities, have way more applications, even perfect applications, than they can ever accept. And so, yes, it's about being very good academically and having high test scores and having, great grades, but you still have to do something else to define yourself in that process to make them want to choose you versus choosing someone else. And so this translates very well into the university application process for our students. And our academic curriculum also performs quite well when you look at some standardized test scores, which is important just for baseline. I always like to let families know kind of where we are comparative to our national and our norms in the state of Ohio. So now, any questions that you have, I'm more than happy to help with.
We have a question about living options for international students in Maumee Valley.
So our school offers both boarding and day options. We require that all new students do start in the boarding facility, the Dial House. It's home to 28 international students. We want students to begin in the Dial House, meaning their first year at least, sometimes a couple years, because it allows them, what we know about school is that boarding schools are more stable. They help students have a better transition into the school. But then what we know about student experience is that at some point, once the student is comfortable in their learning environment, they're doing well academically, and they're building relationships, homestays really provide a tremendous outlet for students to connect to their peers and to connect to the community in which they're studying. And so we try to offer both. It's very similar to what you would see in many American universities, where they require on-campus housing for the first couple of years and then transition after that. And so you'll have a very kind of solid, well-planned transition where you're actively engaged in the life of the school in your first few years through boarding. And then after that, if you choose, you can go to a host family. no students are ever required to go to a host family. So they will have the opportunity to stay in the dial house if they wish.
And what about homestays? How it's all organized, and how kids get into the school?
Yeah, so the host family program and the homestays are all managed by the school. We pair the students with interested host families that they've met, that they've interviewed with, that they've visited their homes, that we've visited their homes, and that we know that they're going to be a great relationship for the student. Often what we find is that when students come and they live in the boarding house and they really get well acquainted with the school, that their host family typically ends up being somebody that they're connected to through their interests. So maybe a peer is on the basketball team, or maybe a peer is in the theater program or arts program. Sometimes those students end up living in those homes as host families down the road.
Okay, we have two more questions.
Yeah.
One is, what's the tuition for board and meal? And so let's start with it.
So our tuition is very simple. So our tuition is $50,000 for the 21-22 school year. And that includes everything except for health insurance, which is another $1,100. Students can buy it through us, or they can buy it on their own. We recommend that they buy it through us rather than bring their own policy. But as long as the policy works for them here in Toledo, they're able to bring their own policy if they wish. And one technology fee is outside of that tuition amount. So all academics, all activities, boarding, food, everything is included in that tuition number. And then if there's any additional fees, the students would know, or the families would know as they're taking those on. Certainly there are opportunities to do more, but it's not a requirement.
Okay, thank you. And the second question is about the nationality mix.
Yeah. So we typically, again, we have 540 students at the school, 240 in our upper school, and only 20% international. And so it's a very small percentage, so 48 international students interacting primarily with students from here in the US and locally. Within our international program, it fluctuates every year or two, or every year really, how many countries we have represented, but we typically have anywhere from about 7 to 10 countries represented in our international student population. China is a very big population still. Vietnam is part of that population. Multiple students from the Czech Republic, students from Poland, students have a current student from Russia, had a former student from Russia, Slovakia, Croatia, thank you, Sweden. So yeah, there's many students represented at our school from all over the world.
Well, that's wonderful mix. Do we have more questions to Michael? Анастасия, вас не слышно.
Sorry. At the moment, not. But I guess it is already time for us to move on to the other school. And if anyone comes up with any question to Michael, you are still welcome to ask it in the chat box.
And I'm going to stop sharing my screen. And there you go.
Thanks for going first, Michael.
You're welcome.
Alrighty, let me go ahead and share my screen with y'all. So thank you to everyone for joining us today. I'm Jackie Montero Sharp. I'm the Director of Enrollment here at Fork Union Military Academy. And I'll be telling you a little bit today about how we do prepare boys, of course, certainly for university and college, but also for life beyond that. Right off the bat, a lot of people have many questions about attending a military academy, and we are not affiliated with any official US military branch. So basically what we've done is we've taken the military framework and put it into an academic setting. So before I get started about college and university planning, just a little bit of background information about Fork Union. We've been here since 1886. We are a college preparatory boarding school set in the military environment. And we also are a Christian school as well. Where I'm speaking to you today from, we are located on the East Coast of the USA in the state of Virginia. So that's about 2.5 hours south of Washington, D.C., and right smack dab in the middle of Virginia. So very beautiful setting. Where Fork Union is located is very rural, so it's a very safe setting for our boys to be in. If they do need to go out and do activities, usually we'll take them to either Charlottesville, which is a bigger city of Virginia, or Richmond, which is another bigger city of Virginia, and also the capital of our state. Most of our international students do either fly into the Richmond airport or the Washington, D.C. airport. We are an all-boys school, so 100% all boys. Most of our students live here on campus, so they are boarding students. Right now, we have 263 cadets from the 7th through 12th grade. We have about 41 cadets in our postgraduate program, which if y'all have any questions about that, I'm more than happy to answer a little bit later on. And we do have a very diverse student body. Of course, within our students from the United States, they come from all over. We have West Coast boys, boys from the Midwest, and of course, East Coast boys. Internationally speaking, we usually, about the same as Michael, usually have about 7 to 12 countries represented. This year, we have boys from Mexico, Guatemala, Nicaragua, Portugal, Ghana, Nigeria, Jordan, China, and Vietnam. So amongst our international students, that's also a very diverse group. So I think where Fork Union really prepares our boys to be successful in college, certainly our academics. So also like Michael, we teach our academics here quite differently than most other schools in the USA. We are on what we call the one subject plan. That begins in the 8th grade. So if you're a 7th grader, you'll actually be taking 2 subjects a semester. Once you're in the 8th grade, you'll be taking 1 subject a semester. So what we've done is we've taken the calendar year and broken it down into 5 different semesters so that you're taking your 5 core classes. This means that the boys are in class from 8 to 2. Of course, they have breaks during the day. We don't want them sitting at a desk all day, but they will be in that class for 7 weeks. So if it's math, that's what they'll be doing for 7 weeks. If it's an English class, again, that's what they'll be doing for 7 weeks. We find this works really well, especially for boys. So they tend to really like it. And it also works really well for our educators here. They can do really, really long projects. They can do even more interactive projects with the boys because they have a bigger chunk of time with them. Pre-COVID, field trips were huge, taking them off campus and really learning in that way. And the boys, again, also really like it because, of course, we have small class sizes here, just like most independent schools in the US. So they really form that bond and connection with their teacher. Because many people are curious about the daily schedule at a military academy, it is quite strict and it is quite structured. This, though, ultimately helps the boys in the long run once they go to university or college. A little bit more about our academics. We do offer dual enrollment classes. So that means that a boy can take this class here at Fork Union. He doesn't need to travel anywhere. We do it with a local community college. And if they earn a B or an A in that class, they will receive class credit. So this is one way that we're helping the boys even get further ahead once they begin their college or university career. So right now, these are the classes that we offer as dual enrollment classes. Usually 11th and 12th graders take these classes, but if you are interested, we do let some 10th graders also enroll in these courses. And on the left-hand side are all our honors class offerings. So that means that they do carry extra weight. And of course, also our AP classes are all listed on the right-hand side. So honors classes here mean that they carry extra weight. So it's a good way to kind of boost up your GPA. AP classes are classes you take our teachers are trained with the College Board, and you'll take AP exams at the end of that class. If you score a 4 or 5, again, it's another good way to earn college credit. You'll have to excuse me here because I just received this list a few moments ago from our academic dean, but these are the colleges that the boys have already been accepted to this year. Our college counseling process really does begin in 10th grade with kind of career exploration. So what do you want to do? What do you think you might want to pursue as a major in college? What do you think you want to pursue as a career later on in life? 11th and 12th grade are really when we start getting heavy into essay writing, SAT prep, ACT prep, and of course, everything you're involved with extracurricularly. If we move away.
Jackie, we have a question here.
Yeah, go for it.
About the main entry requirements to be accepted at your school.
Sure. So it's a very straightforward admission process. You can work with our fabulous people at Golden Education. And it's basically just an application, teacher recommendations. You will have to interview with myself, and we can do that via Zoom. You will also have to take an English test just to see what level you're at. And of course, all your academic history. So once you submit all that, that's what we call a completed application. And at least 2 folks here in the admission office will read your application. And then we will get an admission decision to you. And then the choice is up to you if you want to enroll in the academy or if you don't.
But do you have some kind of marks, like, for example, if your academic results from school are below average, then don't even try, or no, does it matter, or what things matter for the students to be accepted?
Absolutely. So my biggest piece of advice for boys who are hesitant on applying to the academy is, I'll start off by saying this. A military academy is a very different choice than any other type of school that is out there, right? So it's very different than a private day school. It's very different than another all boys boarding school. So if you are looking for a very different high school experience that will be hard, I mean, it's a very strict schedule here and you will be busy. Our teachers do have very high expectations of our students, and same in the residential life area. If you are looking for that and you're ready to try, then please go ahead and apply to the academy. If you do think you might have lower grades, or you didn't test well maybe on the English test, that's okay. What we're really looking for here is attitude and character. So if you have, good teacher recommendations, if adults have really nice things to say about you, that's great. It's okay if you haven't been doing that well in school, because again, the one subject plan really tends to help boys do a lot better in school.
And since it is a military academy, this is again a question from the audience.
Yeah.
Is there any special physical shape or sports requirements? Like, I don't know, you have to be able to run 100 meters in 7 seconds.
Absolutely. Great question. So for admission to the academy, no, there is no physical requirement while you're applying. While you are here, though, as a cadet at the academy, you do have to do a physical activity each afternoon. And I will say, if you are athletic or very sporty, this is a great place to be. All our boys really, really lean into our athletic programs. We've had over 100 of our graduates go into the NFL. We've had NBA players. Like, if you're athletically minded, it's a great place to be. But most of the boys here just do a sport. And we have many, many different sports. We have football, soccer, cross country, indoor, outdoor track, swimming, diving, golf, tennis, judo, lacrosse, baseball. I feel like I always weightlifting, wrestling, so many, many different choices to choose from. If you don't want to participate in a team sport, you have 2 other options. You can take physical training, which is honestly just a very normal gym class, or you can do an off-season training session with our strength and conditioning coach. So that's where we have a full-time strength and conditioning coach. So that's where you would go to him, tell him, I'm not playing a sport this season, but next season I want to play lacrosse. So give me a workout schedule that will help me reach that goal or just get in shape for that next season. Any other questions?
Not yet.
Okay, great. So again, leaning a little bit away from our academic offerings at the academy, this is where I feel like we do really prepare boys for life, even beyond college and university, are our core values. So I'm sure as I've been speaking, you've read a little bit about them here, but our main values here are respect, integrity, faith, character, and discipline. And that's really what we live by at Fork Union. Here are just 4 stories of recent Fork Union graduates. This sweet boy is actually a 2006 graduate of Fork Union. He's from China and he went on to go to the Citadel. Seth graduated in 2018. And he is currently at North Carolina A&T State University. And this last boy here is William Lawton. He's at Gordon University. So if you read here, they talk about how FUMA has not only prepared them academically for life in university and college, but also all the leadership skills they've learned, even just being away at a boarding school without your parents, learning how to live on your own, learning how to self-advocate, learning how to get involved, is really something that our graduates do speak a lot about once they leave the academy. Each year, we also welcome back our alumni to come to campus and speak to our current students. So if you picture these various professions I have in the PowerPoint, you can see that they all are very different. But they are all still graduates of a military academy, which means, unfortunately, I do think a lot of people have this stereotype that we want our boys to enlist or we want our boys to pursue true military careers. And don't get me wrong, some boys do come to the academy to pursue true military careers and serve our nation, which is amazing and wonderful. But the majority of our boys will graduate from the academy and pursue their interests. And that is 100% fine to us. We encourage that. So this year, these folks are actually coming to campus next week and speaking to our boys. And we also did a Zoom call with them. So you can see how different Kate Good works at Fork Union. She's not a graduate, but you can see how different all of these men are, but they all share the common thread that they're graduates of the academy.
There is one more question here.
Go for it.
About Russian students. Did you or do you have any Russian boys at the academy right now? And how many?
So right now we do not have any Russian students at the academy. We do have a close tie to Russia at the academy though, because one of our math teachers, she is from Russia and her son goes here, Alexander. He of course was born here in the USA.
Okay, so he's American, not Russian student.
But he is the only current tie really to Russia.
Did you have any Russian students before?
Since I've been here for about 2 years, and no, we have not had any Russian students.
Okay, so this is a school where you can have
be the first
international environment and no other Russian students, which is quite often a request from Russian parents.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, especially when they want their children to mix internationally and not just hang out with other Russian friends, which Russian students sometimes tend to do.
Sure, it's definitely hard being the first of anything, right? But if you are looking for this experience, please don't hesitate to apply. You can be the first Russian student. So again, just a little bit more about our graduates of FUMA. If you want a list, a full comprehensive list of anyone who's graduated from the academy, please go to our website. But as you can see, like I've mentioned before, very, very diverse group of men who have graduated and done very great things since leaving Fork Union. We've had anything from an Olympic swimmer who represented Egypt. Like I mentioned before, over 100 players have been drafted or signed to the NFL. Kevin Plank is a graduate of Fork Union. So he is the former CEO of Under Armour, which is quite nice because all of our uniforms are provided to us from Under Armour. So again, regardless of what your interest is, we encourage you to pursue that. And that is all I have for y'all today. Any more questions?
Let's see.
I do have a question. Actually,
sure.
So the first question is about the dual credit classes. Can students use these credits for other universities or colleges?
Yes, absolutely. So any college or university will accept those credits. How will they? It will go on their official transcript as being from that specific community college. But because it's a recognized, accredited college university, it can transfer anywhere. So yes.
Okay, that's great. And the second question is about the postgraduate study.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do offer 3 postgraduate programs here at Fork Union. Our 2 most popular ones are athletically minded. The first one is the PG football program. The second one is the PG basketball program. And the third one is a PG academic program. So if you are interested in either the basketball or football program, that is where you are looking to be recruited by a college while playing games still. So you're still athletically competing, but you're also taking classes. So that can be a variety of different situations. So whether you need to retake a class, maybe that you wanted to earn a higher grade in, whether you're just taking new classes just to have those extra additions on your transcript. It can also be you're taking more college preparation test prep, so ACT, SAT, while also playing that sport, so basketball or football. Our third PG program is for academics. And I would also say that's also, if you just need to be away from home for a year, learn to live by yourself, learn to be in a setting independently from your parents. And the academic PGs, we can be very flexible with. So do you want to retake classes? Do you want to take new classes? Do you want to focus on standardized test prep? What we can really kind of build a program around what you're looking for academically.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. I will stop sharing my screen. There we go.
Так, дорогие друзья, еще какие-то вопросы, если у кого-то остались? Можно по-русски задать вопросы свои, если не уверены в английском. Ну и также я вам скажу, что в понедельник нас ждут новые встречи еще с 2 американскими школами. Обязательно приходите. Это будут совсем другие школы, совсем про другое, чтобы вы почувствовали все разнообразие. Так, а в субботу, это же в эту будет уже субботу, да? Да, 13 числа в субботу наша традиционная программа «Утренний кофе» в 11 утра по московскому времени будет, опять же, посвящена средним школам США и будет затронута в том числе тема получения стипендий. Это, конечно, не про то, как учиться бесплатно совсем, но это про то, как можно вместо $50 тысяч в год потратить 30, примерно так.
Да, и поступить в хорошую...
Поступить в хорошую школу, потом попасть в хороший университет, потом получить от школы финансовую помощь на обучение в университете. Вот, об этом мы будем говорить за утренним кофе в субботу. Ну, а на сегодня тогда, если вопросов больше нет, тогда мы прощаемся с нашими гостями и увидимся с вами снова в субботу, в понедельник и далее на нашем марафоне. Всем спасибо большое. Thank you very much, Michael and Jackie. I guess since we have no more questions at the moment, we will close it up. But in any case, our website is available with all the contact information and details, and you can send us an email, you can call us, you can sign up for a personal consultation or interview, or a personal interview with a school. This can all be organized. Okay, thank you very much, everybody.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much.
You have a good day there,
Yeah.
and
You
our
too.
working day is finished.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.